And yeah, it's a great way to just start by sharing a little bit of where we're coming from. Sometimes we share the weather in the chat. My name is Antoinette, and I'm one of the hosts for our Women Together experiences here. And I see that we're coming in from all over. I see Tampa Bay, Florida, Hadley, Massachusetts, Ossining, New York, Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, Sheboygan, Michigan, Yarmouth, Maine. So a lot of East Coast today, but here come the West Coasters, Cupertino, California, LA, London, very east, a little bit further east, or maybe in the middle, however you want to look at it. Sweden, Beacon, New York, really hot Sacramento, California. I will say it's cooling down here a bit in New York. Hastings, Montenegro. We are really coming in from all over today. Cambridge, wonderful. So we are really glad to come together every week, and I'm so every week, every month now, but it used to be every week. And it's just wonderful to connect with each other, to share in some tiny practices that just remind us of our common humanity and our ability to show up in any given moment, no matter what's going on, no matter what's happening, to just be fully here, fully present. And many of you know I had a baby somewhat recently, and it's, all of the practices just in every moment with him, but just to show up and to be fully present can make such a difference in any human's life and any, way that we're interacting, but also very much with a child, just showing up and being present and how much that changes their attitude and behavior, especially a toddler, as he, gets big emotions. As soon as I sit and I'm really just present with him, all of a sudden everything changes. So I invite us to just do our own practice, whatever that may be. Some of you may have, um, very, very advanced or very long time meditation practices or prayer. But just being with ourselves for a few moments can be just enough. So we'll just take a moment to do one little tiny practice, and then I'm so grateful to have Kristi Nelson with us, and I'll turn it over to her in just a few moments. But let's start with our little tiny practice. So if you can get both feet on the ground, or just kind of feeling your solid self on the ground or on the couch or the chair, wherever you may be. And you can close your eyes if you'd like to, or you can just keep them a softened gaze. So instead of kind of hard stare at the computer or, anything going on, just kind of soften the edges, soften the gaze, and take a deep breath. And just for a moment, feeling what it feels like to be in this body today, in this place, in this moment in time, in this body. And perhaps following the breath as it moves in through the nose, noticing just where it goes. And if the mind has drifted, just noticing that and being with for a moment what brought you here today. Perhaps it was Kristi. Perhaps it was just coming to another Women Together session, connecting with each other, just noticing what really brought me here to this moment today. Maybe it was somebody special. Maybe that someone special is you. And just being with whatever that is. And if you'd like, you can start to reconnect with the screen and with each other It's nice to have our video on and just be able to see each other in a gallery view. And if you'd like to, you can type in the chat just a word or phrase of what brought you here today. As I introduce Kristi, we can pop some of those in the chat. So I'm so glad that we have Kristi back with us today. Kristi's the author of Wake Up Grateful, the transformative practice of taking nothing for granted. Through her workshops and coaching, Kristi offers guidance and support for those seeking greater attention, appreciation, and amazement in and for their lives. And I love that for so many reasons. I had somebody say to me, I love how you just love living life. And I think of Kristi in those moments of just having gratitude and how much that changes our way of being and our way of showing up. And a little bit more about Kristi. From 2014 to 2023, she was the executive director of a network for grateful living. She spent her work life helping to lead and strengthen organizations committed to progressive societal and spiritual change. Her work in this capacity includes the Institute for Jewish Spirituality, Buddhist Peace Fellowship, Spirit in Action, the Center for Contemplative Mind and Society, among others. She was the founding director of the Soul of Money Institute, director of development for Kripalu, and the director of development for the Center for Mindfulness in Medicine, Healthcare, and Society. It is such a joy to have you with us, Kristi, and we are so deeply appreciative of your work and the ways that you've shared it with this community and with so many others. And it's just so needed now, more than ever. So glad to have you with us, and I turn it over to you.
Thank you. Yay. Thanks, Antoinette. It's so nice to see you. And thanks for bringing a life into the world. Beautiful gift to be able to offer from such a beautiful human as you are. So, I have a bunch of slides that I'm going to share today and take us through because the promise was really actually to do some practices together. And so, if you can put that on slide, there we go. I just want to start with this beautiful little poem. It's an excerpt of a poem, and it's called This Moment. And it just says this so beautifully. You can read along with me. I'm smiling because a million possible alternatives which would have precluded this moment we're sharing didn't happen. Safe passage through countless intersections this week, the absence of calamity since breakfast, 1,000 breaths received in the last hour, delivered right on time. And so, what I just paying a little attention to these words. Gratitude, therefore, is the ability to be here at all. This is really the distinction we're going to talk about next, which is the difference between gratitude and gratefulness. And I noticed that the name of my program changed over the course of this last couple of weeks, which was so interesting. So it went from grateful anyway to embrace gratitude. And so no matter what you signed up for or thought you were getting, we're going to address that today. So gratitude let's keep only with that one there. Gratitude. Let's just keep one up there. Thank you. I'm talking to my behind the scenes people here on the slides. So gratefulness, some of you may know this really well and others may not, but gratitude can be hard to come by. And I just want to make sure that we live into these distinctions very clearly in this conversation because we can't be grateful for everything. We shouldn't be. There's a lot of things not to be grateful for. So I always want to make sure that I'm in the business of advocating for and advancing gratefulness as opposed to just gratitude, because gratitude waits for something good to happen. It tends to be a response, a reaction, a feeling, and it's very fleeting and it's highly conditional. So gratitude is going to wear off. You're going to need to get your next hit or fix. Gratefulness is living. It's actually what Antoinette was just saying, which was so perfect. It's actually, in both senses of this word, it's gratitude for life. It's gratitude for life. It's gratitude that lasts, that is sustainable. It's gratitude for the very gift of life, like our ability to be here, and that a million things have not happened just in this one week that would have kept us from sharing this moment. We need to marvel at this and be amazed. Gobsmacked is one of my favorite words. Can we live in that state of wonder and an awe. And that is really gratefulness. Gratefulness is unconditional gratitude. One other way to say this is gratefulness is the gratitude that doesn't depend on what happens. Gratefulness is from the inside out. It's a proactive way of meeting life. It is not a reaction to what happens. It is a commitment. It's the exact opposite it's the commitment to take nothing for granted. It's the opposite of taking life for granted. It's the opposite of living in a state of expectation, entitlement, assumption. And we can wake up grateful for the very fact of being here. So, this very, very important part, which is you can't be grateful for everything, but you can be grateful in every moment, allows us to have a grateful orientation, a grateful way of being in life and looking toward life without everything having to go our way to be grateful. So, Brother David Steindl-Rast, who founded a network for grateful living where I worked for 10 years, one of his most famous quotes about gratefulness is, "It's not happiness that makes us grateful, it's gratefulness that makes us happy." And just let yourself ponder that for a minute because it's hugely important. You can have all the things that you think should make you happy, but unless you're grateful, it's really hard to come by happiness. Whereas gratefulness, if we lead with gratefulness and we experience gratefulness for what we have, it's really easy to move into a state of happiness. So the next distinction is what I would call positive, toxic positivity. Okay. So that you should only be grateful. That's really kind of what is called a lot these days spiritual bypassing. So you shouldn't feel this feeling you have. You should feel grateful instead. Grateful all the time and grateful as the only feeling that you feel. Like basically everything is predestined. Everything is happening as it should. What's that wonderful book? Everything Happens for a Reason and Other Lies I've Loved by Kate Bowler. It's a really great book. But just this idea that everything is happening for a reason, everything's happening exactly as it should. And if we just think positively, so just that's the only way that you can go through life. And there's a book that was written actually that's really important. It's called The Magic. It was written by the woman who wrote The Secret. And the reason why it's important is because it upset me so much. It's supposedly about gratitude, but what it says is that gratitude will make everything good happen in your life. That if you hold gratitude, that all the things you're going to want are going to manifest. It's kind of a law of attraction experience, but it's dangerous because it says that no other feeling can coexist with gratitude. Gratitude takes the place of all other feelings. So you will never feel sad. You will not feel lonely. You will not feel grief. You won't feel angry. That if you have gratitude, it's like the big rock in the bottle of water that's going to displace everything else. And I really disagree with that. So this is really an important practice, is this idea of living into the distinctions of this. So the next one is what this is called, which is grateful anyway. Can we look squarely and soberly and honestly at what's happening in the world and be grateful as well? Be grateful in spite of what is happening, that we insist on it. And this is kind of why I named the workshop Grateful Anyway, is because even though the world may feel really hard, even though your life might feel really hard right now, even though your body isn't cooperating in some way, there is so much that we can focus on. And that's this kind of idea of being grateful anyway. And when I was at a Network for Grateful Living, I wanted to just tell you that we did this beautiful project, and it was called Gratitude Behind Bars. And it was giving people who were incarcerated the chance to do a gratefulness practice every day. And it was profound and life-changing for the people who participated. And we called it Grateful Anyhow. And what was extraordinary was the letters that people wrote us from jail cells, basically saying, it's horrible in here, it's hot, it's stuffy, it's everything that's hard about where I am being in a jail cell. And I can hear a bird singing sometimes, and I want to not miss the bird singing. So, this is what we're talking about. Can we still pay attention to what is worthy of our appreciation, even in the midst of the world feeling really hard? The other example I'm going to give for this as well is my dad, who is one of the greatest grateful livers I've ever known. And when it says grateful liver, I always say it's like sounds like an organ, like a grateful kidney or something. But he lives gratefully in every moment. And he is such an extraordinary person, just turned 88, and he has both Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And so he is living, and I'm a primary caregiver in his life. He's living with two of the things that people are most afraid of about aging. One is cognitively losing capacity, and the other is physically losing capacity. It doesn't mean that he's only grateful, but my father is so grateful anyway. He knows that his days are numbered on the planet, and he lives in so much of a sense of appreciation for absolutely everything that he can do, everything that is afforded him in his life. And he can, so I realized that I didn't fall far from the oak tree. The acorn of me fell very close to my dad's tree. So grateful anyway is really important. Grateful anyhow, grateful even though, grateful in spite of, and we'll talk a little more about that. And the last one is grateful to. So that's the truth. We can be really hard pressed right now to feel good about a lot of things that might be happening in the world. I'll speak for myself. It's super hard for me to read the headlines every day, and I can feel grateful as well. And that's a very, very important part of, for me, the practice that I bring to life, and one of the things that we're going to focus on today when we focus together. So the next slide is the quote that was used for to promote the workshop, which I just love. I love it when I say things that I actually feel like quoting. So if you don't mind, I'm going to quote myself. Um, when my eyes fill with wonder and my heart with love or joy, I do not betray my concerns for the world. I nourish my capacity to attend to them. This is the crux of the conversation that we're in today, which is we need to fill our hearts with love and joy. We need to fill our senses with wonder and beauty. And what you could do, I put these little square parentheses things around these, don't even know what they're called, the little brackets around for the world, because when my eyes fill with wonder and my heart with love or joy, I do not betray my concerns for my body. I do not betray my concerns for my well-being. I don't betray my concerns for the people I love. I nourish my capacity to attend to them. So you could put anything into those brackets that you want. This is a very important quote, and you all got it on the promotion for this, but I think it just says basically, we are all the better to cope with the things in life that are happening that are difficult if we allow ourselves, and actually if we insist on love, joy, beauty, connection, whatever it is that sustains us. And I wrote this because when the world was getting hard, I want you to know that it was extremely important for me to figure out how to articulate this point that is, I I felt like I owed the world my despair. I felt like I owed the world my despair because I care so much. And I literally have spent so much time walking under a cloud of despair and in a cloud of despair and looking down and looking in and looking only at the headlines and looking at things that take me away from my gratitude and love for life. And it felt like I was betraying my love for life and my concerns for the world when I would look for those sources of wonder. As Mary Oliver says, to be a bride married to amazement, to be a bride married to amazement. And so that is how we can honor the world, honor ourselves, honor each other. So the next slide is something I'd love for you to try doing. So we'll see how this goes. So just like I'm saying, oh, it looks like they didn't quite line up there. The difficult emotion isn't quite under the line on this slide. But when I feel something about the world, I'm enlivened when I also focus on what, right? So I'll give an example, which is when I feel beleaguered about the world, which is one of my favorite words. I'm enlivened when I also focus on what is beloved to me, when I focus on the plants growing in my garden, when I focus on music. I'm enlivened. So when I feel frustration, I'm enlivened when I focus on music. Thank you, Sue. So try filling out these two slots when I feel a difficult emotion about the world, which many of us are very familiar with right now. Ooh. Um, I'm enlivened when I focus on blank. Anxious, I focus on my family's love. Depressed, I focus on family. When I feel despair, Gina, I focus on my family. When I feel angry, I focus on beauty. Amy, thank you. Despair, my new grads. So despair is a very, you guys get it. And I'm goosebumps just reading these. When I feel fear about the world, I'm enlivened. When I focus on the positive changes that people are making. When I feel betrayed by the world, what I focus on what I can do. Overwhelmed, when I feel overwhelmed, I focus on bettering my neighborhood. When I feel lonely about the world, I feel better when I focus on my trusted girlfriends. Anybody else who wants to put them in? It's hard to read them all. There's so many beautiful ones that went by. Okay. So the next little thing to put into chat is this next slide. When I'm enlivened or grateful, I feel or I have more what? The idea is, so I'll say for me, when I'm enlivened or grateful, I'm more engaged. I'm more aware. I have more to share. I have way more to share. I feel more impassioned, more energy to live, more love to give, more fun in my daily experiences, more generous, more to give, energy, more energy. Um, these are beautiful, more in the present moment. This is exactly what I'm hoping. Vitality to give to others and joy. So you're exactly ability to respond rather than react. Beautiful energy to volunteer and devote my time to help others. So basically, I think a lot of us feel like when things are really hard in the world, you may resonate with what I was feeling. And the reason why I'm illustrating this is these are ways to remember that we're actually more effective when we are connected to what we're grateful for, when we're connected to what we love. And I used to feel like I was more effective, I was more honest when I walked in a cloud of despair. And the truth is, I had no energy for myself or for anyone much at all. I think the other thing that can get really awakened is when we're connected to what we're grateful for, those are the things that we want to preserve and protect, right? We're grateful for the things we want to preserve and protect. And when we lose those things, we feel grief, which is a form of gratitude lost. So, can we live into that place that is alive with what we're grateful for, knowing that what it does is it actually energizes us, it motivates us, just what you guys are saying, and takes us into this place where we want to, um, we have more creativity, more initiative, more generosity to share. We can look outside of ourselves better. And yes, as Karen says, we're more hopeful. So the next practice is a really important one, because one of the things that I have more of when I focus on what I'm grateful for is I get perspective. And I want to give you one illustration of perspective. And some of you may know this practice by heart, in which case, just do it as if you'd never heard it before, or do it as if you're the expert and pro that you are. But here's a perspective practice, which I'm just going to put out here, which is think of three things that you need to do today. Okay, so you can put the first prompt up, Ella. Um, the first one is I have to what this today and this today and this today. Think of three things. I have to pick somebody up. I have to go to an appointment. I have to run an errand. I have to take care of someone. I have to take care of myself in some way. This is, I have to, and it's basically what makes up our to-do lists in the world. And when you think about this, because I find myself, even though it's so ingrained in me, I still use that language and then I catch myself. And it's so meaningful to catch yourself. So think of those things that you have to do today. And then now the next prompt, Ella, is I get to do these things today. And I do this over and over and over again. If you have a parent, if you have a child, if you have children, if you have a home, if you have a car, if you have to go grocery shopping, if you have people to take care of, you're incredibly blessed. If you have things that need your care and that are responsibilities and obligations that you need to tend to, you are really fortunate in the world. If you have people who count on you for things, if you have the ability to spend money on groceries and to drive somewhere and you have a car, we're all better off than a lot of people in the world. And we forget sometimes and we feel this word beleaguered. I just want to share that word with you again because I think it's really, we can feel put upon by the world. The world hangs heavy on us as opposed to privileged. Because the truth is, our obligations are opportunities. So let's go to the next slide and then hurry on through here. So life is not about or, it's about and. It's magical and messy. It's heartwarming and heartbreaking. It's delight and disappointment, grace and grief, exquisite and excruciating, often at the exact same time. Next slide. One of the things that I just wrote about that I want to encourage you to consider is finding your own term. I just wrote last month about feeling defiant joy, that when I went out in the garden in my bare feet, I felt the sense of defiant joy, and it was so powerful for me. And I looked up these words that are synonyms for defiant because I think they're really beautiful to be undaunted and resolute and we can talk a lot about being resistant and we might feel resistant to what's happening in the world, but this word defiant and attaching joy to it is really a beautiful thing. So I want to encourage you to consider what's a two-word stand that you could take for yourself on behalf of love. I feel radically grateful, or I feel tenaciously tender. I feel this fierce love. I feel unyielding in my generosity. Whatever those things are, like to match up these words so they actually give you energy. So language matters. We're going to go to the next one, and then I'm going to send you into your breakout session. So I'm a little bit over time. I'm sorry about that, you guys, but hopefully this has been fruitful. So Andrea Gibson was one of my biggest heroes and passed away this summer, a poet who I absolutely love, pretty much everything they write. And this is one of their quotes: "Beauty is in the eye of anyone who sees what's missing, but can't stop pointing to what's still there." If there's no definition for love yet, I think that's a good one. So Andrea died at 49 in July and lived one of the most grateful lives that we could all be inspired by. So next practice. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do in your practice with each other and to try this. So I feel difficult emotion is supposed to line up under that first thing. I feel fear about something, my body, and I'm grateful for my body, or I'm grateful for my breath, or I'm grateful for my ability to speak out loud right now. I feel scared about my community, what's happening in my community, and I'm grateful that I have a community. So what I want you to do is I want you to take turns as you go in your breakout, each person speaking and trying this. I feel something about a difficult emotion about something hard, something, and I'm grateful. Not, but I'm grateful, or if only, then I'll be grateful. I'm and grateful. It's not conditional. So I feel something that's hard and I'm grateful about something that's nourishing me at the same time and enlivening me. So it's a pretty easy instruction. Can you guys get it? I hope so. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So that when you go into your breakouts and you're on your own, somebody commit this to memory. I feel difficult emotion about something, and I'm also grateful. I'm still grateful. I'm still grateful for something else, something that's going right. So you're going to get put into breakout sessions, and then I'll see you when you get back.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kristi. So this feels very clear. Um, and I just also feel a lot of what you just brought in with Andrea Gibson too. It's just really lovely. But when you brought the next prompt up, I thought I feel grief about Andrea Gibson, and I feel
Yeah,
grateful that she lived and that she wrote and that she shared unendingly. Oh, it's
totally.
so
Totally.
let's
Beautiful
take
example. Thank you, modeling.
yeah, so let's take that into our breakouts and remember that we don't know what the other person had for breakfast this morning, let alone what's been going on for them. And just share your name, where you're coming from, and then something that follows Christie's prompt. I feel a particular emotion about something that happened, and this is what I'm grateful for anyway
Thank
or
you.
still. So yeah, so enjoy this time together, and we'll see you back in, let's say, 20 minutes, so we still have some time with Kristi at the end. All right, enjoy the time together. We'll see you back shortly.